We'll just start and then
Yes, we'll see if we'll drip in. So, hi, welcome everyone to class 18 of the Dutch course. As you know, today we'll be having a big recap of the stuff. Stuff. That's very Dutch. The material we covered in this lesson. So let's first have everything here. So the theme of this week, as we of course very adhere to this, is studeren. So could you repeat this after me? Studeren. You're naturals. Uh, never gets old, joke. Which means to study, which most of you are doing, I hope. Hopefully not asleep. So the topics of this week. First we have go through the homework. Then we will do the word of the week. And then we will do, very conventionally, a big quiz start. See which areas of the material we will be better at or maybe less good at. So we can go through the material in a more focused manner, so we're not just repeating uh, stuff that you already know, and also because it's fun. Then we'll do the recap. We'll just go basically through everything we covered thus far. And
you need to come a little bit closer to the.
need to make things a bit more gezellig. Oh, first part of the recap. Yes, so we'll go through everything we've covered so far, and hopefully we also kind of rely on you to kind of ask us what material you want to have repeated, what you were kind of struggling with maybe, or whatever we didn't cover that you would like to know. This is the time to ask. So after the recap, I think then we will have a break, and then we have 3 exercises scheduled. However, we probably won't do every single one of them because they rely on talking. And as we have seen, that's kind of hard to do here. So there are 3 exercises. One is you have to construct a dialogue. The second one is a reading exercise. And the third one is a speed dating exercise. So what we'll probably do, we'll first start with the reading exercise. And if we have a lot of time left, we'll do one of the other ones, probably the dialogue one. Because the reading exercise is the easiest to do. And probably one of the more useful ones, because we haven't done a lot of reading here, and we have done a little bit of talking. And then we will already be done. And then we will tell you what we will do for the next 2 lessons. So, without further ado, let's start with the homework, which you, of course, did. Let me open the chat. Typing in the chat. So, the first exercise was a thinking exercise. So you just had to think about what you want to ask us, or things that were unclear, etc., etc. So about all the material we covered so far, and which we'll get to in a bit. This exercise was a bit more straightforward. It's to fill in the correct adjective and the correct form of the adjective. So let's get to that. Because we're with so few people, I can just point to you and tell you to do it. Way more straightforward. So, Elisa, you're so enthusiastic. Love it. Indeed, it is dikke. Very good. Piet heeft pas 100 pagina's van het dikke boek gelezen. Whoops, that's not the correct one. It should be dikke. You are correct. I am incorrect. But indeed, it's dikke. So Pete has only read 100 pages of the thick book. So Lisa, you get the pass for this. Okay, for the second one, Louisa, could you unmute your mic and just read the with the correct adjective?
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that I don't have homework this week because I was absent the other week and I just didn't manage to, keep up with the material. I'm really sorry.
Oh, okay, then that's no problem. Then I will move on to someone else. Oh, Alex, I'm choppy again. Good. Well, Alex, could you maybe do the second sentence? Mooie, indeed. Het mooie meisje. No, it's not mooie. Het sterke meisje. She lifts the horse. The strong girl lifts the horse. Could possibly be mooie, but sterke makes more sense. All right. The third one, the man. Voice crack. De man is zo, omdat hij lipstick draagt. Can she also be nice? Nice and strong. Yes, she can be nice, but mooi does not mean nice. Mooi means pretty. And she can also, of course, be pretty and strong. So the third one is mooi. The man is zo mooi omdat hij lipstick draagt. Because lipstick makes you pretty, of course. Easy. It's mathematics. More lipstick, more pretty. Okay, 4. Okay, now I will actually point to someone. So Jeff, could you read the fourth sentence out loud? All right, so people don't want to read out loud. That's also fine. I will do the reading. Indeed, de grote deur past niet in de deur op. Very, very good. But it's one O, because the second O is super. Houten could be possible, but Houten, we'll see if it's better somewhere else. 5. Wow, the iPhone is belachelijk duur. What is the correct word? Okay, this might be confusing because I already put nieuwe at the top, but it shouldn't be there. It's indeed nieuwe. So this doesn't mean that normally you should do twice, words twice, but that's, yeah, that I didn't do the correct one at the top. So, wow, wow, iPhone. Lies.
It's still not a very good quality of your sound, I'm afraid.
Really? Okay. 6. Ik heb liever een huis dan een stenen huis. I'd rather have a house than a stone house. Which word applies here? Houten, yes. I'd rather have a wooden house than a stone house. Very good. Okay, so for this next question, I will need you to, very good, you did very well, even though I fucked up at the start. For this next exercise, I will need you to unmute your mic, because otherwise it will take too much time. And I do want to practice your pronunciation. So here, this was kind of a difficult exercise, I would say. You had to come up with the question that John is asking the landlord. So John is looking for a place to live while he's studying in Utrecht. Finds an ad on Kamernet, but the ad looks kind of sketchy and doesn't specify anything apart from being a room near the center. So John is desperate for a room, as we all are, and messages the poster anyway and asks a lot of questions. So, Elisa, okay, could you unmute your mic and pronounce the question?
Okay. Hoeveel is the camera long?
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. It's unfortunately correct. Because that makes sense. Because the sentence says the camera is 10 vierkante meter, which is 10 square meters. So the correct answer would be, hoe groot is de kamer? Correct answer, correct question. So how large is the room? If it was indeed the kamer is 10 meter, then you could ask hoe lang is de kamer? Right, the second one. The answer is nee, de kamer is niet gemeubileerd. So no, the room is not furnished. Emily, could you say out loud the question that you came up with?
Okay, so is de kamer
Gemeubileerd.
Yes. Is de kamer gemeubileerd?
Gemeubileerd.
This is a kind of difficult word. But very good. All right, and now that got you anyway. Jeff, could you do the third?
Oké, heeft kamer een balkon?
Yes. Heeft de kamer een balkon? Very good. Does the room have a balcony? Yes, the room does have a balcony.
Great.
All right, 4. Alex, could you do 4?
Yeah, give me a second here. The slide is taking away some of the words, so I can't see the first half of it.
Oh,
Find it in the homework. Yeah, it's the where it says take control. That's like taking control of the slide, so to speak. Yeah, I'm having difficulty seeing the question, honestly. I see Keuken in de badkamer met 3 personen, but I don't know what the first word is.
the first word is u. So you, the translate, the answer here is, you have to share the kitchen and a bathroom with 3 people. So what would be the question that John asked that warrants such an answer?
Or how many people? Whom? No, I don't have it. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's no problem. It is also kind of difficult. But an answer here could be, met hoeveel mensen moet ik de badkamer delen? Or
Okay.
hoeveel mensen delen de badkamer? But that is, and the keuken. You should also say keuken. But yeah, that was kind of. All right. Well, back to the top. Elisa, could you maybe do 5? The answer being nee, u mag geen huisdieren hebben. Elisa?
Yeah.
Yes.
This one I don't know, but what does it mean?
Oh, it says,
yeah.
no, you're not allowed to have pets.
Okay. Mag ik hebben huisdieren in het huis?
Yes,
No.
pretty good.
Mhm.
The only thing I would change is to have hebben at the end. So, mag
Okay.
ik huisdieren in het huis hebben? Or mag ik huisdieren hebben? Very good.
Thank you.
You had the question form. You had the right. For the sake of speed, and because this lesson is all kind of long, I will just go through the rest of them. So here, the question is, this should have been 6 to 10, but whatever. So the answer is, de huur is €350 per maand. The rent is €350 a month. The question is, hoeveel is de huur? How much is the rent? Or hoe duur is de kamer? How expensive is the room? For the second one, it's not an answer, but the answer is in the form of a question. Namely, kunt u dinsdagmiddag? Are you literally, can you Tuesday afternoon? Are you available Tuesday afternoon? So the question would be, this one is kind of hard, I have to say. Wanneer bent u beschikbaar? Or wanneer zou ik de kamer kunnen bekijken? When are you available? When do they see? So the third one. So then the landlord asks, okay, when are you available? So John would say, and then the answer is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So John would say, yeah, what time? How late? What time are you? Then the landlord answers John's next one. Rembrandtstraat 31. And a question you could answer for that. Goed. Wat is het adres? Waar is de kamer? What is the address? Where?
I think you need to come closer again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, indeed. So the fourth one would be goed. Wat is het adres? Goed, waar is de kamer? Where is the room? What's the end? And then finally, the landlord answers, nee, u mag in de kamer niet roken. No, you're not allowed to smoke inside. At which John would ask, oh, en mag ik in de kamer roken? Oh, mag ik in de kamer roken? Oh, is roken toegestaan? Am I allowed to smoke? And the answer is no. So this exercise is kind of hard, but it's good to have some hard exercises. Challenge you, hopefully learn something. But let's continue to this and it's the quiz. Het woord van de week this week should have a different picture because this is the same picture. And het woord van de week, repeat after me, is thuis thuis. Thuis thuis. Literally meaning home home. Used by students a lot to mean their parental home. So if someone says, ik ga naar thuis, or ik ga naar huis, I'm going home, then they could further specify, often a question then would be asked by like freshmen to that person, like, oh, are you going to like your home, or like where you live in the Utrecht, or to your parents? And to anticipate the question, you could specify it further by saying, oh, ik ga naar thuis thuis, I'm going home home, I'm going to my parents. All right, useful word maybe. You might see it. But now, to the real exciting part, the quiz. So, you can't see it yet. No?
You can say ik ga naar thuis thuis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to thuis thuis. Do you know how to write ga naar, the verb to go?
Oops, it is not the correct one. Oh. Oops, that's not a good idea. Ik ga naar, yes. Oh, without the an.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't need to yell it at people.
We can hear you just fine. Did I include system audio? Oh, I can't remember. Okay, sorry for these technical difficulties. We'll get there. Okay, yes, I did it. Woohoo. Okay. So, we will not error on the man's order of the question. And let's do that. All right, so. Yes. Okay, everyone's here. Let's go. Which one of these vowel combinations is not a Dutch diphthong? Bad guys, it's UE. All the rest are correct diphthongs. keeping on your toes. All right, second one. You get a lot of extra. This word has too many letters. Which is the better spelling of schaken? Yes, indeed, schaken. With two A's, it has one A too much. Ooh, good job. Which pairs sound the same? Multiple answers possible. So which pairs of consonants sound the same? Yes. Kind of easy. Or they don't always sound the same. They can often sound the same. For example, G, we will get to that in the recap. You didn't have trouble with this. True or false? 43 plus 66 is 99. Correct. Because it is 109.
Or maybe it's just it has nothing to do with your Dutch capacity.
No, it was just the math.
I hope.
Ooh, so this is a new one, puzzle. You have to put in the correct order the conjugation of hebben in the form ik, jij, hij, zij, het, wij, jullie.
I like the picture.
So ik, jij, hij, zij, het en wij, jullie, zij. Ik heb, jij hebt, hij, zij, het heeft en wij, jullie, zij hebben. I have no idea how easy this is to do. So the correct conjugation of zijn. Zij, samen bij hun ouders. Yes, it's zijn. Because it is they are together at their parents. Or their parents' place. I could have added thuis. That would have made too much sense. Right, what is the correct translation of that is your sister? Oh, that's very good. Good job, guys. Hey, Emily, you got some points.
Yay.
Open-ended, so you have to type it in yourself. Double points. Type in the correct conjugation of lopen. Present simple. Jij naar de supermarkt. Lope. Very good. Nice job. The infinitive minus en is the stem. Yes. We're all very quick when we have a few right. You still have to apply the rules in order to get the stem. Good job, good job. True or false? De is the feminine and het is the masculine article. De is het is the neutral article. De or het? Album. Album. Stands on up. Very good. Ooh, Jeff is really ahead of the competition. Again, a puzzle. Turn the following sentence into a question by putting the words in a different order. Ik eet morgen een wortel. You have to put the words in the order to make a question. And again, the correct order is eet ik morgen een wortel. Again, good job. True or false? Is niet placed correctly. Linda drinkt niet het biertje, maar het wijntje. Because you place niet there, you emphasize an alternative, which is here, Linda doesn't drink the beer, but the wine. Yes. Good job, guys. All right, what's the correct conjugation of kunnen? Jij heel goed Nederlands spreken. Jij kan or jij kunt heel goed Nederlands spreken would be correct. Kun is the first person form and kunnen is the plural form. Again a puzzle. So place the modal verb willen in the sentence ik ga naar buiten. So make a modal sentence. As you've already done in the next Ik wil naar buiten gaan. I want to go outside. Okay, again, you have to type it in here. Fill in the correct plural of lepel. Lepels, yes, because it ends on ul. Very good, meaning spoons, of course. Ooh. Can anyone still chance Jeff? Hoe laat is het on this clock? It's 6:10. Very good. 6:10. I can understand. Ooh. Again, an open-ended one. The past tense of jij sport is jij. Person didn't get it. Ah, no one got it correctly. Oh. Yes. What is the correct form of the adjective goud here? Een ring. It's a material, so you add en. All right, the last one, most important one of all. Ooh, no. You're a winner. Acceptable satisfaction. All right. So,
Well done.
well done, guys. Let me share the slides again. So many things that you did well on. Some things that were a bit harder. I think conjugation is still something you practice a bit. And some things that might have just only been difficult because of the time pressure and the way Kahoot works. We'll get to that. So, Plein, do you want to take over for that?
Yeah, sure, yeah. Let's start with the big recap, starting with the first week. So lesson 1, we'll go way back in time now. And we started with the, as you can recall, consonants and vowels. So, and we spoke about how consonants are mostly the same as in English, but there are some differences in pronunciation. And for instance, the G sound, we never say J, we always say H. And I remember many of you struggled with that at the beginning, but I hope it's better now. So maybe we can practice it together. Gat. Gat. So not gut. Never do that. Never. And the same goes for the J sound. So we don't say jat or whatever. We say yacht. So it's not like jam. So that's different. And then when it comes to the R sound, well, I remember we even discussed, Thomas and I, that even Dutch people have different ways of saying R. But so it's not really a problem if you say rot. It just sounds a little bit more pushy, but try to make it a sort of rolling rat. Even I can do it probably, but and then the W is also slightly different. We don't really say like what, like the English one. We say it more slightly similar to the V, so what. But again, this is maybe hard, and maybe you don't even hear the difference. That makes sense. And the last one, vis, sounds a little bit like the F, so vis. Although it is V, but again, the difference is quite small.
Yeah, and only for some Dutch speakers like myself. I think you do make a difference between a V and an F, but I don't.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so it's also a personal thing, maybe. But okay, just let me know if there are questions, because otherwise I will try to go through things.
Yeah, maybe that maybe should have done before. Could you type in the chat or just tell us if you have some things that you want us to pay more attention to?
Yeah.
Or some questions that you have just in general. And then we'll get to those questions at the point that we are there, or you can just let us know at that point if you want to repeat something. But if you let us know now, then we can take it into account and give a more comprehensive explanation of that part. So,
yeah, because we will go through many topics, so maybe it will be too long if no one really has a question about it, and then we might as well just go through it briefly and then elaborate more on the things that you actually need help on. So yeah, just let us know. Then we will continue with the Dutch combinations. So sometimes consonants together make another sound. So the sound or the sh or the s. So again, I can go through this really elaborately, but if you just let me know if there's any question about this, then otherwise I will just continue. So I will just briefly pronounce them, starting with the first one. Acht, acht, schat, schat, socialistisch, so it becomes an S sound. Ring, remember, and bank, which means couch or bank. Yeah, so this is more a pronunciation thing. Then we also talked about vowels, that we have open and checked vowels and how to recognize them. So briefly, when it comes to open vowels, it's always at the end of, or when the last letter in the word is a vowel, it's an open one, so we make it long. So we don't say auto, but auto. When it's followed by a consonant and then another vowel letter, so maken, we make it long. When there are two vowels that make one sound, so naam, beroep, studie, veel, then you can see that the double vowels also make a long sound. And then when it comes to the checked vowels, when it's followed by two or more consonants, so for instance, kennis, we don't say kennis, but kennis, because there are two N's after it, or when it's followed by one consonant and the words end, so het. Yeah, not hate, because then there would be double or two E's. Okay. If I don't read anything, I will just continue. Here are some other vowels, and remember that sometimes they change a little bit in their sound. For instance, stak in plural becomes takken, which is the same, but then if you have, for instance, staken, you hear that the A sound is slightly different. Instead of it's a. So we make it longer, and this is a good way to practice with it. So if you see on the left side, you see all the checked vowels, and on the left side the long vowels, and you can see the difference and you can hear it. So hek, hekken versus hate, haten. Ik, hikken versus ski, and zien. You can hear the difference in the I and the I, although it looks the same. And with the O, it's also the same. So botten, that's a checked vowel, but boot, boten, it's a long vowel. Hut, hutten, and huur, huren. So I really hope you can hear the difference by now, and that you can even recognize when to use a checked or a long vowel. Yeah, okay. Then we also talked in the quiz, and there were some of you who didn't have this correct, so maybe it's good to go through these again. The diphthongs, there are, here you can see the general ones, so the E and the U together makes the O. Remember that sound, O, nose, which means nose. Then we have two options for the I sound, which is either E, I, or IJ. So reis and zij. The sound is the same, but the spelling is different. Then we had I think the most difficult one, the ui. Remember, uithof, muis, and many times people confuse this with, they say Uithof or Uthof, but it's really au, yeah? And then the ow, we also have the ow sound. Again, there are two options for writing this, with an A or an O. So ow, hout, sound exactly the same, spelling slightly different. And the last one, the oe, such as in koe. Yeah? If there are no questions about this or how to pronounce them, I will just continue. Okay. With lesson 2. Shall I continue, Thomas, or do you want to take over? Or?
Yeah, you can do this one and I'll do the next two.
Okay. So in lesson 2, we introduced numbers to you guys. This is also quite, yeah, as it is. Not really an explanation about it, but just for the pronunciation, I will quickly go through them maybe. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then when it comes from 20 on, recall that we did the following thing in Dutch. So we don't, for instance, say 20 and 1, 20 and 1, 21, but we say 1 and 20, 1 and 20. So we start with the small letter, the small, what's the word? Number, yeah. Then we add n, and then we use the bigger number. Yeah, so 1 and 20, 2 and 20. And this goes basically on till 100. And the dots on the E you can see in some words is just for pronunciation, so that we know when we need to, or like where the word stops basically, because otherwise it would be twee, and we don't know when twee is pronounced. So it's more for pronunciation, and the sound of twee remains twee. Yeah. And I will just continue with the verbs. You should know them by now, I hope. To have and to be. We also practice them in the quiz. So ik heb, jij, u hebt. And when it's a question, the T removes. So heb jij. Hij, zij, het, heeft. Wij hebben, jullie hebben, zij hebben. And of course, to be as well. Ik ben, jij, u bent. And in the question, ben jij? Hij, zij, het is. Wij zijn, jullie zijn, zij zijn. Yeah. And we also talked about personal and possessive pronouns, which you should also just know by heart. So starting with the personal ones, it's what I just read out loud. So ik, jij, u, hij, zij, het, wij, jullie, zij. Then when the person is the object, so you say mij, jou, u, hem, haar, ons, jullie, hen. And when it comes to possessive pronouns, it becomes mijn, jou. Pay attention to the W. Even Dutch people don't do this. Uw, zijn, haar, ons, or onze, depending on the word that follows. Jullie, or hun. This is also in your booklet, and you should just try to memorize this. Still no questions? Okay.
All right.
Week 3.
Yeah. So before I continue, I do want to ask you, so do you want me to go through everything at kind of a clear pace, or do you just kind of speed through everything? Do you have any specific questions or not? That's kind of my question. So could you type in the chat if you have any specific questions, or also could you type in the chat if you don't have any specific questions? Because it's kind of hard for us to gauge whether repeating it at this speed is kind of useful for us, for you. And I mean, we don't need to have the recap because we do speak Dutch. So could you let us know if you have a specific question, and also if you don't have a specific. Okay, good. That's nice to hear.
And also, if the pace is too fast or even too slow, just let us know.
Yeah. Because since you've already heard this. So could the rest also tell me if they have a question or not? You don't have to tell me the question per se. Just let me know if you don't have a question or not. I don't have any specific question. The recap is very helpful. The pace is fine. Great.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Because it's hard to know if it's not too much
Yes.
repetition or.
I have a specific question only when it comes to reading. Clock goes slower since I still find hard to. Could go slower since I still find hard to get about the clock.
Okay,
cool. Yeah, pace is also nice so far. Okay, great. Then I will just continue.
Yeah.
So lesson 3, we did 2 things mainly: the present simple and done had. So for the present simple, when do you use the present simple? About momentary actions that coincide with the moment we're talking about it. So if you're doing something right now, you can say, "Oh yeah, ik werk. I'm working." In English, you use the present simple a lot less. You use the present continuous a lot more. In Dutch, we use the present simple than in English. We also use present continuous a lot, but you don't know it yet. So that's lots. So to refer to ongoing habitual or repetitive state of action. So just something that is going on all the time. I wake up every morning. Every morning I make coffee. In the evening I take a shower or something. You also use the present simple here in English. And 3 and 4 to refer to a future event or a hypothetical situation. So you can just say, oh, yeah, tomorrow it will rain. In Dutch, you can leave out the will. You can just say morgen, morgen regent het. Tomorrow it rains. And a hypothetical scenario, als het morgen regent, dan zijn de straten. If it rains tomorrow, then the streets. These are the cases. Most often, it's the first 2 that. So how to conjugate verbs in present tense? Well, we already saw that in the first lesson, the second lesson. But again, so form the crude stem. You can take the infinitive, you chop off the en. And for a lot of verbs, this will just be the stem itself, or werken. And then it's you have the stem, ik werk, add a D to the stem.
I think the sound is choppy again. Yeah.
Choppy again.
Yeah.
For jij en u, you add a T to the stem, so werkt. But again, remember, for a question, you don't add a T. So it becomes werk jij. For u, this is not the case. It is werkt u. So for hij, zij, het is also just a stem plus a T. Hij, zij, het werkt. En voor wij, jullie, zij is just infinitive. Hij, zij, wij, jullie, zij werken. Pretty simple. But again, this is only the case if the crude stem is the same as a stem. And you can tell if it's the same as a stem. If you go for the crude stem, you have to apply usually at most 2 of these 3 rules. These rules are: preserve the long vowel sound, the tense vowel sound, the open vowel sound. Those are kind of synonymous. Kopen has a tense vowel sound O, not op, but O. And we need to preserve that. If we just chop off en, then we get ik kop. That's not the same sound. Koop, Cool. And to ameliorate this, we add another O. Ik koop. The other rule is that you don't have any double consonants or vowels at the end. So for ik stem, stemmen means to vote. Chop off en, you get ik stem with 2 m's. But the second m, it doesn't add anything. So you just leave it ik stem with 1 m. And staan, if you chop off the n, there's no en to chop off. So you just chop off 1 m. You get ik sta with 2 a's. But there's also superfluous. So we chop off 1a and get ik sta. Lastly, the z becomes an s and the v becomes an f if the crude stem ends on an s or an f, and z or a v. Sorry. So reizen becomes would become ik reis with a crude stem. We don't like to have z at the end, so it becomes ik reis. Durven would become ik durf. We don't like to have a v at the end, so we become ik durf. Again, if you know the rules, durven means to dare. It's not a very common verb, but I couldn't find a better verb for this. It's short. De and het. Again, I will assume if you don't have any questions, that I'll just move on. So please interrupt us if you do have questions. De and het are the 2 definite articles in Dutch. And there are not a lot of rules for you to determine whether something will be de or het, but here are a few. If it ends in je, namely if it is a diminutive, it's always het. If it ends on isme, it's always het. If it ends on or ends in aat, or if it is a 2-syllable word, that starts with ge, be, or ver. These prefixes, namely het geluid or het begin. Those are the only things you can kind of really assume that they will be het. And yeah, so in the biggest rule here is that plurals are always de, and words referring to people are almost always de. So de vrouw, de leraar, I mean, the woman, the teacher, those are always de because they refer to people, and people usually have gender. So that's why you use the word. Also notably that the plural also always overrides any of the previous things that would be het. The plural is always de, you never have a het. We also have an indefinite article, namely the equivalent of un in English. It's the same for all nouns. Doesn't matter if it ends on begins with a consonant or a vowel, like in English, or if it's de or het, it's always un. So de auto, and this is a plural exercise. De auto would become de auto's, yeah, that's plural. I'm not really sure I have this, but so de auto becomes een auto, and het paard becomes een paard. De auto's becomes auto's in indefinite form, and de paarden becomes paarden. You don't have a plural indefinite article. Right, that brings us to lesson 4, in which we treated word order, making questions, niet and geen, and modal verb. Let's start with word order. The basic word order in Dutch is subject, verb, object. This is kind of a I have simplifications and use simplifications.
Your mic is still
still choppy?
Yeah.
Move on in even closer. So it's a bit of a simplification because the more sensible word order would be subject, verb, adverbs, object, and then other verbs. That's a bit of a more general still simplification, but we'll see in a bit how that works. So, but for these very simple sentences where you just have a subject, a verb, and an object, they're in this order. So you get ik steel de fiets, I steal the bike. Very common, very common occurrence, of course, for me. Just after this, I have to again go through Utrecht, steal some bikes. Business is bad lately because people haven't been leaving their bikes outside. Horrible. For questions, making a simple question, just a yes/no question, the procedure is simple. You just invert the verb and the subject. So you get verb subject object instead of subject verb object. So ik stil defeats becomes still ik defeats. Do I still? In English, you have this. Usually, you need this auxiliary verb to do, except for verb tenses with to be or something in it. But in Dutch, we only need one verb. So that's very easy. We can have more verbs, but we don't need. Also important to remember, if you have jij in the sentence, in this question, you don't add a D. So it's not still jij defeats, maar still jij. I think by now you know this, I hope, because I've said this already 3 times in a row, but important to remember, no T's for you. Negatives in Dutch come in the form of 2 words, namely and geen. Niet meaning not, and geen meaning no or none. So first, let's talk about geen. Geen is used to negate a noun with an indefinite article. And we just talked about indefinite articles. So een is an indefinite article, or no article, but also more vague articles. A few, some, or a number of, which just indicate that they're not specific. So it's not a unique. For example, ik drink een biertje. I drink a beer. Everyone say you don't drink a beer. I would say jij drinkt geen drink no beer. You wouldn't say jij drinkt een biertje niet, because it's an indefinite. If it is definite, namely het drink het bier, the negated form becomes ik drink het bier. Another example here: Pieter spreekt Nederlands. Peter speaks Dutch. I'll say Jan doesn't speak Dutch. And you don't add a niet there. You get Jan spreekt geen Nederlands. No. Niet is used to negate anything else. Oh, very barely here. This.
Oh yeah, it's really really bad.
Oh, okay. That is annoying.
Mm.
What else is it? This might help. Was it so bad that I need to repeat the last section, or do I just need to repeat part of the last section? Or do I not need to repeat the section at all? Or can you not even hear what I'm saying right now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I think you can. Yeah, you can just continue.
Okay. So niet is used to negate everything else. It's just not in Dutch. So you get kind of 2 options. It either follows the conjugated verb in the case there's not an object. So Erik drinkt niet. Erik doesn't drink. Or you could have a more general, you could have different sentences. Erik drinkt niet vandaag. It still follows that. You could also say Erik drinkt vandaag niet. That's also fine, but just remember this rule. This is easier for now. If there is an object, then the verb goes up, the niet goes up the object. Erik drinkt het biertje niet. This is the example. Erik doesn't drink the beer. However, it can also be placed in front of the object if, and only if, you want to emphasize an alternative. So, Erik drinkt niet het biertje, maar het wijn. Erik isn't drinking the beer, but the wine. But he's drinking the wine. And in questions, niet is kind of in the same position, but it just follows a different word. So, the normal sentence would be Erik drinkt niet. And in the question, you just invert the verb and the subject, and niet stays in the subject. So you get drinkt Erik, or drinkt Erik het bier. I make it sound somewhat straightforward how it's placed. These are kind of very general. If you see neat in a different place, it's also possible. But it's something that you can do a couple of times. You get really get. Now, moving on from neat, get to the modal verbs part. Modal verbs are a form of auxiliary verbs which change the mood of the sentence. Can, must, may, what have you. Make a sentence with a modal verb. The modal verb takes the place of the conjugated verb, and the conjugated verb becomes an infinitive, gets placed at the end of the sentence. Now, if you say it like that, it sounds kind of complicated, but it's not very complicated. So you have the verb ik heb een biertje, I have a beer, and to add a modal verb to it, it just becomes ik moet een biertje hebben, for instance. I have to have a beer. Ik wil een biertje hebben. I want to have a beer. It's kind of similar as in English, except for in English, the infinitive gets just placed after the conjugated verb. In Dutch, we place it at the end of the sentence. Here are some examples of how to change the sentence. Ik heb een biertje just means I have a beer. Kan ik een biertje hebben means can I have a beer? Moet ik een biertje hebben becomes do I have to have a beer? Wil ik een biertje hebben means do I want to have a beer? Again, important. Will means want, not will. Zal means zal ik een biertje hebben? Will I have a beer? Of yeah. And so the verbs are also kind of irregular. And these are their conjugations. I will not go through them all because it takes a lot of time, unless you want me to, let me know. This table can be found in your booklet.
I think you need to fix your
Again?
Yeah.
I really don't know what causes it.
Yeah, it's bad this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, luckily I'm almost done. Okay, wait. Someone's in the doorbell. If you could continue, then I will pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. I hope my quality is better. I hope. Okay. Let's continue with week 5. We talked about plurals, so how to form plural and what words. Great. Mine is better. So the general or most common thing we do when we make plural is just add s. So when a verb ends, or when a noun ends on e or on el, m, n, r, r, we add s simply. When it's a word we sort of stole from other countries, such as credit card or croissant, we just add an s. Yeah, indeed, we could hear Thomas. Overall, pretty good, except for some part. But thanks for saying. When it ends on a single A, I, O, U, or Y, we add S with an apostrophe, and everything else we add EN. And then pay attention because some words change. For instance, when it ends on a long vowel, or when you need to keep the checked vowel sound-wise the same. Yeah? Okay. Then there are also weird plurals. So there are some exceptions when a word ends on or only with kind, blad, rund, kalf, ei, been, meaning bone, not leg, volk, and lam. Then we add eren, so kinderen, bladeren, runderen, kalveren. The F becomes a V then. Eieren, beenderen, lammeren, vogelen. So those are the weird ones, the exceptions, basically. Okay. Voorzetsels, adjectives. Prepositions. These are the ones we discussed. So op, boven, voor, tussen, rechter onderhoek, naast, onder, achter, in, linker bovenhoek. So remember with regard to the rechter onderhoek and linker bovenhoek, that you either choose rechter, right, or linker, left, under, lower, I'm sorry, onder, and upper is boven, and hoek means corner. So you can vary with that. So rechter onderhoek, rechter bovenhoek, linker onderhoek, linker bovenhoek. Those are the prepositions, or the general ones. And then there are also some verbs we use to indicate position. When an object is standing, so for instance a chair, we use the verb staan, to stand. So de stoel staat achter het bureau, or er staat een stoel achter het bureau. When the object is lying, we say liggen. So het mes ligt in de la, or er ligt een mes in de la. When the object is sitting, which in English is a little bit weird maybe, but in Dutch this is quite common as well. So de vlek zit op de muur, or er zit een vlek op de muur. Then to be, zijn. De lamp is boven de vloer. Er is een lamp boven de vloer. And when the object is hanging, such as a painting, we say het schilderij hangt boven de bank. Or er hangt een lamp boven or een schilderij boven de bank. So those are different verbs that we use to indicate position. In week 6, clock. Okay, so can you maybe ask what exactly you find difficult when it comes to reading the clock? Because I saw that Elisa at least said that she
Yes. For example, to me is somehow contradicting when I have to mention that is it's 8:45. Sometimes I feel like it's 9:45. I'm not taking the right example, but sometimes in Italian is not how you say. It's sometimes contradicting to think of. I don't know. There are like time hour in which it seems that it goes an hour. It gets an hour more.
Yeah, I think you mean
Clock. I don't know.
That when it's 1:45, you refer to the hour that is coming, right? So when it's 8:45, we say 9:15.
Yeah.
And that might be different in Italian. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if the slide is also here. I guess not. But we had this picture of the clock, and that basically said that the first quarter, so from 12 to 3 on this image, we refer to the hour that has been. And then starting from 3 to 12, everything is focused on the hour that is yet to come. Except the difficulty is that we also refer to half hours, and that's what makes the Dutch clock even more confusing sometimes, because we also say, for instance, when it is 10 minutes or 20 past 12, we don't say het is 40 voor 1, it's 40 minutes to 1. We also don't say het is 20 over 12, it's 20 past 12. But we say het is 10 voor half 1. So 10 minutes for 1:30. And that's also confusing. So maybe that's also some things you struggle with. So keep in mind that we both refer to the full hour and to the half hour, and that except for the first quarter, basically everything is focused on the hour that has yet to come. Is that a little bit more clear, or do you maybe have other questions. Yes, better? Okay. Because I know this is a difficult topic, so maybe if other people want to take more time for this, then we can do so, and otherwise we can come back to it later if you want. Okay, I will just continue then. I hope this was a little bit more clear. Okay, past tense, verleden tijd. We looked at regular and irregular verbs, and
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I actually have a question, but
yeah,
it takes time to type it, so I'll just say that. So, so the part from 6 to 12, so over half and for,
yeah.
it applies to the hour which is about to come.
Yes, but
okay. And the first part, so like the purple one and the green one is about the hour which is now.
No, only the first one, so only the purple one.
Oh, only the purple. Okay.
Yeah, but when it comes to the blue one, let's say, we still refer to the half hour. So, for instance, when it's 10 or when it's 20 to 4, so in English or typed, it would be like this. We don't say het is 20 voor 4, but we say het is 4:10. So we refer back to the half hour. So,
okay, yes, I get it. Okay, thank you.
Like this. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. And again, if more people struggle with it, then we can just talk a little bit longer about this. But otherwise, I will just continue. And feel free to interrupt me, just like you did. It's way more helpful if we can just hear you explain it. So, okay, past tense then. The regular verbs. Those, remember I like this rule, the sexy soft ketchup rule, in which you can know when to use T or D in the past tense. So this is only with regular verbs, right? So we take the verb, we remove the infinitive en. So for instance, werken, to work, we remove en, which remains, or what remains is werk, ending on a K, which is part of sexy soft ketchup, and therefore we use T when we conjugate it in the past tense. Yeah, I think this rule, once you get how it works, it's quite easy to use this and apply this. Oh, look. This is what I just said. Okay. This is when it's not the case. And important here is to remember that you remove en, so you really look at the last letter and you don't think about, okay, it's a Z, we should turn it into an S. It's not in this case. You just really look at the crude stem. And then when you start conjugating it, yes, then you change it into an S. Okay, here are other irregular verbs that we paid attention to briefly. And what's most important is, just as in English, that the sound might change in past tense. So it becomes a slightly or totally different sound. Yeah, and mostly when a verb is irregular in Dutch, it's also in English. So that's a good thing to keep in mind if you doubt. Yeah. I don't know if Thomas is still fixing his mic or...
Yeah, I hope it's better now. I'm not sure.
Do you want to take over?
Yeah, I'll just...
Okay.
Just a small thing I still want to add for the last one is that most verbs in Dutch are also regular in English, but not every single one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It would be too easy. So lesson 7, we talked about adjectives and about question verbs, interrogatives. I'm still not sure if it's interrogatives or interrogatives. I think it's interrogative.
I think so too. Yeah, it would make, yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Adjectives, bijvoeglijk naamwoorden. We talked about this a bit already. I mean, we already did. We did it last week, so hopefully it's kind of fresh in your memory. Place it after the article and before the noun. So, de mooie stoel, een mooie stoel, the pretty chair, a pretty chair, or you place it after is, product. So the stoel is mooi, the chair is pretty strict. But how do you make it? I hear you ask. Well, because you already know this. So after the or het, you always add an e at the end. After een, you only add an e if it's a te. Een kleine arm, but een lang been. Because been is het and arm is te. After is, you never add anything. So it becomes de stoel is mooi or het been is lang. Het boek is dik. Is mooi, ik kan het zien. I think it's again, remember that the spelling has to be consistent. Just like plurals, if you add an e to the end, spelling can be. So if you have here the grote stoel, one O is superfluous because if you have a vowel, consonant vowel, it is always the first vowel there. Tense, and that's the same sound as two vowels after each other. So then the grote stoel. Dik and boek. You add an e there, then it will become het dikke boek. Different sound. So we add an extra k in to make it dikke. This is just the opposite of Google did for constructing the stem from the. And again, here again the opposite. And S becomes Z and F becomes a V. But only if it comes after a not a short vowel. Because if it's a Lex vowel or Czech vowel, whatever, like dikke. Because otherwise you get the issue again. The vowel pronounced tense. Leaf is already two letters that don't change. So you just get een lieve man, een lieve man. Tense sound. Wijs and vrouw are also tense, the diphthongs, tense. Een wijze vrouw, nou, een wijze. Yeah, we talked about it. Let's go into much detail. Materials, you always have the end upper article. Het houten hek, het houten hek, het houten hek, and het houten hek. And after is, it becomes, you get het hek, fences, made. There are some examples for colors. De blauwe spijker, oranje trui, dat is question words, they go in front of question sentences. Gaat het, waarom heb je die weer gedaan? En wanneer ga je naar links? These are examples of derivatives. These are almost all of them. Other ones, some combination of vaak. Some things to keep in mind. These question words need another context. So if you have hoeveel, you can't just say hoeveel heb je. I mean, you can if you already know what you're referring to. So you say how many do you have, but often you need another word context. So how many shoes? Welke or what for? Which or what kind? Also need a noun. So you can't just say what kind are you working? Because you know what kind of thing you're talking about. But yeah, dingen. And add.
Your sound is gone again.
Is
It's still gone.
okay. This is very optimistic at the break.
Yeah.
Okay, so we already went over a bit, so I will put the issue on you. Do you just want to leave it here? because we skipped the break already and you might be tired, it's late? Or do you want to quickly do, it's not really quick, not a quick exercise, it takes 10 minutes or something, exercise 2, reading exercise. I will leave this issue up to you. Let me know if you think, got it here, or more Dutch. Okay.
Yeah, everyone agrees? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the reading exercise, right?
Yes. Oh. I think Alex already left. So I guess we know his answer.
Okay, I think, yeah, you should manage to do this.
Yeah, okay. And Jeff also agrees. Okay, cool. Well, then for you, this reading exercise, you have to read this text about Lodewijk Napoleon Bonaparte. And you have to answer these questions. It's our very first reading exercise. There's not much to say except for read the questions first. They're in order to make it a bit easier, and then try to answer them. And just let me know when you're done, so then we can discuss them.
Was er ook nog een tweede quiz trouwens? Of...
Nee.
Oh, oké, dat is een foutje.
Die staat wel in de slides, maar dat is gewoon de quiz van vorige week.
Ja. Oh nee, top. Dan redden we het wel.
Ja, ik had natuurlijk wel het idee om dan nog een quiz te doen om te kijken of we het beter deden, maar die ene quiz maken duurt al lang genoeg.
Ja.
En die quiz doen duurt ook al lang.
Nou, balen van je geluid, joh. Want dus we stonden dit te moeten onderbreken, maar af en toe dan viel je echt helemaal weg.
Ja, nee, ik weet niet per se waar. Wat ik denk dat het komt, is dat. Of het komt door mijn fans. Of soms hoor ik jouw fans ook heel erg. Misschien
Oh, echt?
Maar ik denk dat het vooral door mijn fans zijn.
Ja. Want hoor je mij haperen als jij, zeg maar, aanstaat nog? Als ik praat en jij... Nee? Oké. Want ik kan het wel proberen hoor, om mezelf zeg maar even stil te zetten als jij praat. Kijk of het helpt.
Ja, misschien helpt dat.
Ja.
Maar, I'm not sure. Ja, of het zou mijn internet zijn, maar... Maar ja, het kan. Ik weet niet. Ik denk het niet, maar... Oh, okay. Finish stuck on 3 and 4. Right. Or you same? Okay. Okay, 3 and 4. No, now we'll go through that together. Best key 3 and 4. Okay. So for this, would you please all just unmute your mics and just yell the answer when you feel like it? It's done. Good. Okay. Well, okay. Spoiler for the first one. How many kings of the Netherlands preceded Lodewijk Napoleon? 0. He was the first. He was king of the Netherlands. Right. Second. Why did he wait? Nice house.
I can try. He had arthritis.
Yes. Indeed. Hij had arthritis. And the sea made it worse. Being close to the sea. Right, the third one. Ned, you were stuck with those. Why are rabbits associated with Lodewijk? Anyone a guess?
I had no idea.
Okay. Well, the reason is here, I think. Lodewijk probeerde ook Nederlands te leren, maar hij vond de uitspraak moeilijk. In Amsterdam zei hij dat hij het konijn van Holland was, in plaats van de koning van Holland. So, Lodewijk, Louis tried to learn Dutch, but he had trouble with pronunciation. So, instead of saying, I'm the king of the Netherlands, he said, I am the rabbit of the Netherlands. Konijn instead of koning. And so that's why he's known as the Rabbit King. And 4, you also had some troubles with.
Epic.
What happened in 1808 is kind of a pretty general thing. 2 things happened. First, the construction of the palace was completed, and Utrecht became the capital of the Netherlands for half a year. This is actually not in order with the rest of the ones. That's kind of sneaky, maybe. That's just above the section about him being the Rabbit King. Okay, the rest you did get, I hope. In which year did Lodewijk step down from the throne?
1810.
1810, indeed. What happened to the palace after Lodewijk stepped down?
It burned down, partly burned down.
Yeah.
Yes, partly burned down. And it was also partly divided up into into houses, living spaces. And finally, what occupies the palace at this point in time?
The library.
Yes, the University Library in the city center.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I also just recently learned that. They have a little, I mean, yeah, you can't see it now because you can't go there. But they have a little desk at the entrance that was allegedly his.
Oh, cool.
But
All right, so I hope you.
what does it mean, Lodewijk?
You say?
Yeah. What does it mean, Lodewijk? Yeah, I write it.
Lodewijk is his name.
Yes.
Okay. Now it sounds to me. Okay,
Yeah, it's like
the way
it's the Dutch
it was
pronunciation / spelling of the French name Louis.
But how was it for you guys to read a quite a long Dutch text? Was it hard, or did you use a dictionary? Was it okay?
It was okay. I think because the questions were in English, it helped you to know what to look for slightly. So it was okay.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to do.
So I mean, after 8 weeks, you managed to read this. That's quite something.
Yeah, especially the recap today was useful, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well done.
Very good to hear. So, for the homework next week, you also have to read the text. It's a bit shorter, a bit easier, and you have to translate some sentences. Classic exercise. Hopefully you are able to do this. So, and if not, we'll see next week. But that was it for this week. So a lot of information that you've already heard, but hopefully it was useful to kind of condense that in a short amount of time. Yes, hope you had a fun King's Day on Monday. can probably do that, but oh well. Yes. So if there's not any questions left, we'll call it.
And thank you for joining again.
Yes.
Oh, and Thomas, do we need to explain something about the coming weeks, or do you say we can do that later?
Yeah, maybe. So the last lesson had possibly some small presentations or some small assignment.
Yeah, you need to come a little
still-
bit closer.
Okay. So last week we will have you do some small assignment, a presentation or maybe a writing assignment. We'll explain that more next week. It's sort of like a test-ish thing. We won't grade you or anything, but just to see where you've come, it's good to try to apply your Dutch skills concretely. But we will give you more information next week, and it's also very. We hope this make a very low bar exercise, so don't feel bad if you mess up anything. Don't expect. But more information.
Yeah.
Just so you know what we will do for the last lesson. All right.
Okay. Have a good week.
Dankjewel. Doei.
Doei. Bedankt.
Graag gedaan.
Bye.
Recording.